This is Josh Olmsted. Welcome to Northwest Disc Golf's coverage of the Final 8 of the Zootown Open, presented by REALTY Group. This is an A-tier event out of Missoula, Montana, and the Final 8 is being played at the Sky Ranch Disc Golf Course. We're really glad you could join us. If you're enjoying our coverage, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Also, check out our Patreon page. Joining me on the coverage today, once again, we have Brian Beardham, the TD of this event. You all ready, Brian?
Yeah, let's do this.
So on the Final 8 card today, we have Christian Dietrich, Justin Cournoyer, Matt Miller, Mccoy Connor, and Seth White. Everybody's chasing Christian here, who's got a commanding lead, 25 under par. He's really setting the pace here. And starting us off, hole 1. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the hole, Brian?
Yeah, hole 1 is uphill tunnel shot, par 4. It plays it's just under 500 feet, but probably plays closer to 600 feet because of the elevation change. And on their first shot, they're just trying to throw a slight turnover, and set themselves up for a good look at the basket.
Yeah, I know in round 3, our lead card, no one managed to get the birdie, and this was playing as the hardest of all the par 4s and tied for the hardest overall to par at 4.08 strokes. It's a tough shot because there's not really that much of a fairway. Even if you get a good drive up there, got a lot in your way.
With a 157.
Yeah, the tunnel is pretty narrow.
Cournoyer.
Sorry about that, Justin.
So second up, we've got Justin Cournoyer from Rapid City, South Dakota, putting on a good pace here in second place. He's definitely going to make a charge and try to catch Christian, but he does have to work fast. Ooh. Kicks a little bit of a tree there on the right, but he's a good way up the fairway.
Spokane, Washington at 158, Matt Miller.
So third up, we've got Matt Miller from Spokane, Washington. He's definitely got the distance to get this a ways up the hill. Definitely a power driver. Ooh, that's a good snap there.
That's a great shot. As he should.
Fourth going into the final 8 out of Missoula, Montana with a 160, Mccoy Connor.
There's our local boy, Mccoy Connor, out of Missoula.
Yep, good to see Mccoy making it back onto the lead card, coming off the chase card. We saw him in round 2. Looks like he's drifting a little left. He's going to have a hard chance trying to get up to the green in 2.
Billings, Montana, Seth White.
Seth, he's the second highest rated player in Montana, and he's also a very talented artist. He's the man behind the logo this year and for most of the years at Zootown Open, so he's a pretty talented guy all around.
Awesome, yeah, and that's a lot of logos since this is event is in its 12th year, one of the longer running A-tier events. And Seth does a nice job getting himself up there. So first up here, we've got Mccoy. He lays out, trying to lace a forehand up there. Looks like he's only about 80 feet short, so probably have an easy up and down for par.
That was a pretty tough stance there by Christian.
Yeah, looks like he caught an early tree, so he'll have a little bit of a tricky up and down. So Justin here, after just uncorking this drive, that's a beautiful upshot. So we're finally going to get to see someone birdie this hole. See if Seth can make it too.
Yeah, well played.
Yeah, he's making that hole look real easy. So here's McCoy's third shot. And he puts it up there, maybe 20 feet short. Should have a good chance at that putt.
Woo! Nice shot there by Matt as well.
Yeah, looks like Matt's going to get his up and down. And we'll see if Christian can get up and down from par. Ooh, looks like he might be maybe leaving an opening for these guys early on in the final 8. He certainly hasn't made a lot of mistakes this whole weekend.
Oh, and that's not one you'll see him miss very often there.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's been putting pretty consistently. Seems like he's almost quietly broken out to a huge lead. Not a lot of dramatic 80-foot putts, just a lot of consistent golf, and as you said, making all those short putts.
Yeah, for sure. Seth. There's a birdie. And there's another.
Yeah, Seth White did a good job jumping into the final 8. Shot a 989 rated round 3. And as we move on to hole 2, Christian's lead is now just 5 strokes over Justin. So suddenly it's looking like there's a little bit more of an opening here. Matt is just 1 stroke behind that at 18 under par. So we move on to hole 2, 252 foot par 3. Right after the big climb, we're going straight back down. This is a really cool tunnel shot. You can see the pin straight ahead at the bottom, and there's no route over the trees, so everyone is going to go straight up the gut here.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody did go over the top. If you have a big thumber, it's there, but haven't seen anybody do it yet.
Yeah, no, definitely, you know, with having to, with how tall those trees are, you know, you're certainly taking a little bit of a risk with a thumber that you're not going to get yourself close. I think maybe it's just a safer play. And McCoy gets a little tree action left, so we'll see if Christian can fix the mistakes of the first hole and recover with a birdie here. This was in the middle of the pack for the par 3s, averaged just a little under par at 2.91 strokes for the open field. But there were some 4s and even a few 5s, so it's not a gimme hole if you get a lot of early tree. So here's Christian to get his birdie.
Oh.
And oh wow, it looks like he was just laying that up, just trying to take his par and walk away, and he gets that tough roll, and that's sort of the nature of mountain golf out here.
And Seth learned from that and laid it up nice and flat.
Yeah, we'll see if Matt's gonna run this, and maybe a little safe run there. Yeah, it's sort of hard to tell, but that slope keeps going down a little ways, so there's a danger of a roll away. Oh wow. Oh, Justin knew he wanted that to get to within 4. He hadn't been missing too many of those this weekend.
No, that's one he wants back for sure.
Absolutely. So Christian does a nice job recovering. He gets his par. Justin here does a nice job cleaning up. So looks like just about everyone on the card is going to take par. So I was curious, how did you decide which holes to play for this final 8?
The 8 holes that we play kind of form a nice little loop. So basically for flow, but also we do something a little funny or different for the Zootown Open. We start the pros early in the morning, and then start the final 9 or final 8 later in the day, so that they can catch up to the top card of the pro women, so that the gallery gets a chance to see both the pro women and the pro men finish out. So it kind of works out good for both fields.
Yeah, so my apologies on hole 2. Justin actually took a bogey, so he and Matt are now tied for second place at 18 under par. Yeah, and I was going to say, in addition to being a loop, it seems like this final 8 kind of brings out a lot of the longer holes. You get to see most of the par 4s on this course. And this one is the longest at 565 feet.
Yeah, and really all they're trying to do is put one out there nice and straight in the opening, and the basket is up on the hill, so they're trying to set themselves up in a good spot to look at the tunnel that the basket is in up the hill.
Yeah, that last 250 feet is really far uphill, so this is one of maybe 2 holes on the course, maybe 3, 1, 14, and this hole, where it really does take 2 full driver shots to get up there.
Seth going with a roller?
Roller line.
Oh, so close.
You could hear the gallery in the background there. They wanted to see that work. That would have been a pretty cool shot to get up by the pin. So Matt here, he's in just about a perfect location, but it looks like he turned over his upshot a little bit. It's definitely a tunnel shot. You really have to come in at the hole pretty straight.
Come on, side weasel.
That was close to making it through the tunnel.
Just about. Ooh, Justin here, putting the turnover on it. Oh, and he really just had to miss that last tree. It looks like he was tracking to the pin there. And a little grip lock action from Christian. So, you know, knowing how experienced Christian is, I hesitate to guess whether that's final 8 nerves. You know, sometimes when you play with a lead that big, you know, it's maybe it's a little easier to get sloppy. I don't know, man. But just a slip up from Christian.
That's a good upshot.
Yeah, it's a really solid shot. So Matt Miller to get himself up and down for par. Christian going with the sidearm.
Huh.
Looked like he might try to give that a run going uphill. And you know Justin's going to be running this putt.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh,
Justin.
and that's a great shot from Justin there. Huge birdie. Recovers after that bogey on the second hole. And we're definitely going to need to see that on replay.
Boom.
Yeah, he seems to get a lot of those high, strong side putts that just really, you know, they crash into the back of the pole. That's the way you want to make those longer ones.
That's a good par for Seth after hitting those early trees.
Yep, Matt's also going to tap out his par. And a nice tap in for Christian. As we move on to hole 4. So Justin gets the sole birdie, everyone else gets par, and Justin is back to 6 strokes behind Christian as we move on to hole 4. 843 feet, par 4. This is by far the longest hole on the course, and you know, this is probably the signature hole, Holler Hill, as you told me. Really massive pull for these guys. This is one of the big chances to just completely air it out on this course. Can you tell me a little bit about the design of this hole?
Yeah, so you see the fence line on the right, that's OB, and the long grass. You can see his OB as well, which goes around the basket. So the basket's kind of a pocket with OB all the way around it. These guys can reach that long OB on their drives, but it's really a bump to get there. It's kind of where they're landing right now is on a downhill slope, and the basket's kind of on an uphill slope too, which really adds some depth perception issues on the upshot.
Yeah, really unique hole, and you know, you've got all that scenery in the background, so it doesn't really get much prettier than this.
Oh, that's great.
And interestingly, this actually turned out to be one of the easiest holes on the course. It averaged about a third of a stroke under par, so I think, you know, with this pro field, you can see they can really take advantage of this, and you know, I'm sure some of these guys can, you know, bite off as much as 600, 650 feet on this drive.
Yeah, if not even more. It's pretty good downhill. The camera really doesn't capture how much downhill it is.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you see any rollers on this hole if the grass gets short enough?
Yeah, shortly after they mow it, there is a lot of rollers on this hole. I didn't see any in competition, but that's definitely one of the fun shots to play on this hole.
Yeah, and that's a big pull from Christian. He's not going to have all that much left. And Mccoy, after that big turnover, he's taking a risky line there, going up by the OB.
Going over OB there and gets through it.
Wow, and he gets the safe signal from the spotter down there. That's a nerve-wracking shot to watch that cruise over the fence.
Great shot there by Seth.
Really, really nice upshot. I like that little plume of smoke down there at the bottom. So Justin, after a really long pump on his drive, taking the hyzer line, see if he can spike it in there down by the green, and that's a pretty good shot. He's only about 20, 25 short. And here's Christian with the easiest upshot of all, and that is great. He is parked. Yeah, you can really see the experience there, and a player like Christian, you know, just making a hole like this look really easy. You know, two open shots, and a guy at his level is pretty much always going to convert. As Justin does a nice job getting his birdie. Yeah, that's good work from Christian. Ooh. Matt comes up a little high, hits the band. Never like to hear that sound as a golfer.
That might be the worst sound in disc golf, yeah.
Yep, you can hear it all over the course. Seth does a nice job clearing out his birdie, so pretty good number of birds here, and that's a good par save, really, for Mccoy. Tough drive, dicey upshot, so he's happy to walk away with a 4 there. So after 4 holes, halfway through the final 8, Christian, Justin, and Seth all take birdies. And we've got a 6-stroke lead heading into hole 5. This is going to be hole 15, 236-foot par 3. Unlike most of the course, we actually have an uphill par 3 here. Pretty simple. Just get through the first gap and keep the discs sailing straight up to the top. Just with that last set of guardian trees by the basket. And that's a beautiful shot there from Justin.
That's how you do it. Yeah, this hole is only 236 feet, but it probably plays closer to 300 feet or maybe even a little further with the steepness of the hill.
That's it.
It's a long ways up.
Oh.
It's definitely a pull, and you know you got to pull out some sort of fairway driver or a mid to power all the way up there.
And there is trouble behind it too. If you really fire at it, you can go off the backside, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah, pretty steep roll away back there.
It is. It's probably 80 feet down to the bottom, and it's almost straight down. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have that problem on this hole. I would just be happy to make it up to the top, but you know, when you got the arms that these guys do, you can get into problems you wouldn't normally see. So here's Christian to keep it rolling with another birdie, and he just comes up a little bit short. Oh, that was a good run from Mccoy. Definitely committed to getting that up there. So, a little bit of putting struggles here, which gives Justin a chance for a nice tap-in birdie and getting a stroke on the card.
Yeah, that was really a great drive by him on this hole.
Yeah, definitely helps to be have your head under the basket. So, Justin gets the only birdie and gets himself back to 5 strokes behind Christian. He's only got 3 holes to go, so we'll see, but the chase is still on for second place. Matt is 2 strokes behind Justin, and Seth is another 2 strokes behind that. So this is hole 16, 285-foot par 3. This is another really cool, sharply downhill tunnel shot. This one's even a little steeper downhill than hole 2.
Another nice shot.
And I like that the saving grace on this hole is there's some pretty thick bushes right by the basket, so you can really just throw it right at the bottom of the pin and trust that the shul is going to help you stick by the green.
Yeah, and if you miss those bushes, there's OB about 20 feet behind the basket. So if you're firing at those bushes and miss those bushes, you're going to go OB.
Yeah, and this actually averaged one of the harder par 3s on the course, just a hair under an even par 3, 2.96 for the weekend. We had a couple birdies on our round 3 lead card. So Mccoy comes up a little short. Definitely seems like, you know, if you hit those early trees, oh, wow. And that looks like a grenade shot. That's something you don't see every day.
Oh, come on, sit down.
That's a rough roll away. He really didn't deserve that. That was a really cool shot to see.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's up there with the turbo putt for sort of unique shots that you really enjoy seeing when they come out. Wow, and you can see Mccoy definitely conscious there. There is OB right there. You can see Seth is just a couple feet away. Seth's going to miss his par putt, take a bogey, and now you can really see this wind. This really seemed to just pick up in the last couple holes.
Yeah, there's been a tradition of getting rained on almost every year for the Zootown Open, and on the horizon was almost black right now. There's a storm rolling in, and they're trying to get done before the storm hits.
Yeah, well, fortunately they don't have too much further to go, but we'll see how that plays in. 2 more downhill holes to go, so get a chance to see how these guys navigate some tough wind on some pretty tricky holes. So Justin with the birdie, he's still doing work. Christian with the birdie as well, so the lead stays at 5 strokes. Seth with the bogey drops down there with Mccoy, and Matt Miller now in sole possession of 3rd place. So we move on to hole 17, 240-foot par 3. Why don't you tell me a little bit about this hole, Brian?
Yeah, so there's OB on the right at the crest of the hill. The road is inbounds, and really these guys are just trying to put something out there straight, and hopefully it'll break a little right at the end, right down to the basket.
Yeah, and I think with this wind, these guys are just going to try to keep it low and really just throw it down the road. Just get it somewhere near the basket. Give yourself an easy par like Christian did there. He'll have about a 45-footer. Yeah, another shot that, maybe without the wind that might have stayed over, but instead it catches a lucky branch. Wow. And the crowd loves it. That is a great break. Pretty great shot. Oh, and we get to see the hyzer line this time from Mccoy. I think in round 3 everyone went right down the road.
Yeah, there is a sneaky hyzer line. It's a fun line for sure, with a big opening actually down on the green if you trust your hyzer enough.
Yep, and it looked like Mccoy put a pretty good shot up there. Seth comes up a little bit long. So we'll see if Justin can recover. He's got that 3-stroke lead for 2nd place. He definitely is going to want to hold on to that. Since probably doesn't have enough time left to catch Christian here. And yeah, Christian not wanting to take any risks. He lays up for the par. And Justin here putting into what looks like a typhoon with the rain on the way. Wow! That is one of the more impressive 25-foot par putts I've seen, and you can tell he's waving at the wind to slow down.
Yeah, it was really roaring right now.
Yeah,
you don't get the wind too much in the woods here. It shows you how much it is blowing.
Yeah, well, and all these guys making their par putts. I've played with a lot of Montana guys before, and they really know how to putt in the wind a lot more than I feel like I see out in Oregon. When you play in 30-40 mile-an-hour winds all the time, you just sort of get used to throwing that spinny flat putt. So Matt gets the birdie, but everyone else gets the par, and Matt's trying to challenge for 2nd place. He's only 2 strokes behind as we head into the final hole, hole 18, 411 feet, downhill, par 3, really nice top-of-the-world shot, great finishing hole. And you can tell these guys, a lot of good sportsmanship on this card. Really good group of guys.
Yeah, for sure. These guys have played many rounds together, so it's a group of friends.
It's always fun when you've got that community feel out here, and definitely a strong disc golf community, and we're getting to see the fruits of that here this weekend. And Justin with that sharp flick. Looks like he's throwing like a racquetball smash shot. So I imagine the strategy here is just keep it low. There's a lot of space to work with. Christian really giving some air on that, and he wants that to stay to the right. But he gets it about pin high. Is there any OB long on this?
There's OB long back there at those Innova banners. Really doesn't come into play. It's good 50, 60 feet behind the basket. But really, like you said, they're just trying to put one out there, usually a forehand, and break to the basket, and it's definitely reachable with a fairway drivers. So they're just trying to put one close and make the putt.
Looks like Seth got his turned a little bit over, but he's just happy to be down there. He knows he's got a pretty easy up and down left. So Mccoy with a pretty long way to go for his second shot.
Yeah,
Does valiant effort.
From a tough spot too for a flat meadow. He was in one of the few spots that you couldn't see the basket from, so that was pretty good for not being able to see the basket.
Yeah. Looks like are those driving range stakes you can see there in the fairway?
Yes, yeah. There's a driving range that plays perpendicular to hole 18. So when you pull into the parking lot, you can warm up on driving range, practice basket, and all that.
It's a nice course feature. It's one of the nice things about private courses. Sometimes you can really see people taking care of the course like they own it.
Oh, that was to say tied for fourth there too.
Yeah, tough break there for Mccoy, and a good finish for Seth there.
Yeah, and you mentioned this is a private course. I want to give a shout out to Chris and Susan, the owners. We're very lucky to be on this property, and thank you very much for having us. We really enjoy it.
Yeah, really beautiful course. Really good to see a new course in the Zootown arsenal. And Christian wrapping up, I believe, his fourth Zootown Open title in 12 years.
And oddly enough, his only A-tier Zootown Open title. He's won it 3 other times, but none of the other times it was an A-tier.
Well, congratulations for Christian. That is really some beautiful golf. Started it off strong with that 1075 rated first round, and he really didn't let up. A couple more 1,000 rated rounds, and just kept the pedal on the accelerator. Justin Cournoyer comes in second. Matt comes in third. And in fourth, we had Seth White with Mccoy coming in fifth. Excellent work. Thanks so much for joining us for the Zootown Open, presented by Northwest Disc Golf TV, and of course, presented by ERIKK Realty Group. Thanks a bunch, Brian.
Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks for coming.